Assalamu alaikum viewers, please like, share and subscribe this channel. Links of PDF files used in this video are given in description. So today's lecture is about air pollution and smog. The worst form of air pollution appears as smog. Primarily, smog is an urban pollution phenomenon. The word smog is formed by combining two words which are smog and fog. Smog actually comprises of various toxic pollutants and is the reason of high mortality in those areas which are common in having smog. This slide describes the basic difference between fog and smog. In fog there is condensation and it is composed of water droplets, humidity, white mist, and it is not harmful, whereas on the other hand the smog contains air pollutants and it is mainly composed of smoke, particulate matter and harmful toxic compounds. It is mostly yellow brown and it is very extremely harmful and dangerous to health. Basically, smog is of two types. Number one type is called as classical reducing or London smog, whereas nowadays the smog appears and this smog is called as modern oxidizing or LA smog. So actually there were two major incidents in the history of the smog and both caused many deaths. The first one was the London smog and the chemical nature of this smog was reducing, so that is called as it is reducing or classical smog, whereas the second incident happened in Los Angeles and the nature of that smog was oxidizing and it is called as modern smog because nowadays the smog appears in the atmosphere is oxidizing in nature. So the today's lecture is mostly focused on classical or London smog. This smog appeared in 1952 and it has been recorded in the history that in 1950s mostly the industrial units that were constructed in London were using coal as a major fuel, plus the air was very pollutant and the weather was foggy in nature. What happened in that smoke that children suffered the most and about two half of the children died within the 2 years of this smoke. Apart from London, other cities such as Beijing, Mexico, Shanghai, Calcutta, Delhi, Mumbai were also facing the condition of smoke. Similarly, in 1948, the Donora, Pennsylvania was having a similar smoke of nature and it caused 7,000 deaths in just 5 days. So the major issue was that people were suffering from the effects of smoke and the most suffered type of human beings were the infants or children. So let's see how bad the London smog was. The London smog was called as Great Smog of 1952. The visibility was restricted to just about few feet and almost 4,703 people were died within a week of the appearance of this smog. Smoke caused respiratory diseases, breathing problems, coughing and puffing. The elderly and the infants were suffered the most, and among the elderly people the major threat was to the patients having pre-existing heart and respiratory conditions. Apart from the cardiovascular disease, there were irritation in the eyes and inflammation of already existing wounds. The main contents of this smoke were like carbon, sulfur dioxide and soot particles, and all these contents have synergistic effect for the other harmful effects of the smoke. The compounds contained in this smoke were like tar, polyaromatic hydrocarbons, various organic and inorganic compounds containing toxic chemicals which were very harmful for the health of the human beings. The major culprit of the London smog was the coal, which was used as major fuel in industries and in order to operate the machinery. So there was no usage of gasoline, then the major fuel was coal. So that is why coal is considered to be the major culprit of London smog. The major elements that are included in coal contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur and nitrogen. So these elements form various types of organic and inorganic compounds. The minerals that are also included in coal contains carbonates, sulfides, sulfates and clay minerals. When we burn the coal, then ash is emitted from the coal, and that ash is actually the residue of silicates, carbonates, nitrates and sulfides which are contained in the coal. So if we talk about the chemistry of the London smog, so it is very clear that carbon dioxide is produced by the burning of coal. If we see this equation, that carbon plus oxygen and it produce carbon dioxide. Now if we see here that methane is the product of burning of all the fossil fuels, so if methane is burnt in the presence of oxygen, then it produce carbon dioxide and water. However, in the insufficient supply of oxygen, rather than to produce carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide is produced. So like this is carbon plus one atom of oxygen produces carbon monoxide, and similarly if we write the equation for the combustion in the limited supply of oxygen, so the product is carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide and water. So when oxygen is less, then carbon monoxide is formed. The production of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide is not harmful directly as far as health effects of the smog is concerned. However, both carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide are greenhouse gases, and they contribute towards the development of condition of temperature inversion, and we know that temperature inversion is very important in order to develop the smog. So when there is the condition of temperature inversion, the things or the environment got stagnant, there is no wind, so the all the contents remain in the atmosphere and they are not dispersed to the outer atmosphere. So as a result of which the conditions of smog become more aggravating in the presence of temperature inversion conditions, and this temperature inversion condition is also contributed by the production of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. Further lesser supply of oxygen, the carbon in atomic form is also formed, and the smoke appears by burning of the carbon contents of the coal is due to this carbon. So this equation is actually called as pyrolysis of fuel, because pyrolysis is a word which is composed of two words, lysis which means breakdown and pyro means heat. So it means that in the presence of heat, the coal containing the carbon and hydrogen bonds is break down to form this carbon form. Now this carbon then rearranges into various types of products, and the one of that product is called as polyaromatic hydrocarbons. Now this polyaromatic hydrocarbon is very dangerous, it is cancerous in nature and is very harmful for the health of living organisms. Polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which are produced by the rearrangement of carbon that is produced from the burning of the coal, they are actually very condensed fused rings, and they have double triple bond in their structure. In the presence of sunlight or in the living organisms, they produce free radical reactions. So those free radical reactions are the reason for the harmful effects of polyaromatic hydrocarbons inside the living organisms, and they cause even serious health implications such as malignancy or cancer. Apart from carbon, the other major element that is contained in the coal is sulfur, and its concentration is usually 0.2 to 7% in the fossil fuels, and which is one of the highest that is found in coal. So what is sulfur is doing, that sulfur is reacting with oxygen to produce sulfur dioxide. Apart from that, there are various impurities such as pyrite ores of iron, zinc, and copper. They are also contained in the coal, and they also produce the sulfur dioxides. So the reaction of this is like 4Fe2, which is iron pyrite. In the presence of oxygen, it produces sulfur dioxide and then iron oxide. Here in this equation we are seeing here that iron oxide is produced. Iron oxide is not so much toxic directly, but it will produce these small solid particles which are called as aerosols and will be source of nucleation. So similarly, just like the moisture contents, the aerosol particles will also provide the chemicals the surface area, and on the surface of these small particles there will be further reactions to form the secondary products, and they will cause more damage to the environment. Sulfur dioxide produced here is then converted into sulfurous acid as like shown here. So the acidic conditions in the environment further aggravate the toxic potential of chemicals. Like if previously something is insoluble, then in the presence of acidic conditions that particular thing becomes soluble and its toxic potential increases. Now this sulfurous acid further, after absorbing the oxygen, is further converted into sulfuric acid, and now the sulfuric acid is very much notorious for absorbing moisture, and what it will do, it will increase the size of the droplets, and due to the moisture absorption it will cause more fog. On the surface of the bigger fog particles there will be more absorption of gases, and there will be more absorption of the toxic substances, which on the surface of the bigger size droplets will further undergo reactions to form the secondary products, and thus will aggravate the already existing bad conditions. Iron and manganese ions catalyze the conversion of sulfuric acid into sulfuric acid. So in this way the situation become more worse. So in short, if we see here that what are the necessary conditions for smog, so the first condition is the presence of primary pollutants such as soot and sulfur dioxide. Second is the presence of secondary pollutants like sulfuric acid, aerosols, polyaromatic hydrocarbons. Then the third condition is that there should be a temperature inversion condition. When this condition is present, then there will be no dispersion of pollutants and the smoke will appear. And then there is the condition of high relative humidity and foggy conditions, and the last is lower temperature of 35 Fahrenheit centigrade, and this type of temperature is usually present during winter season. So the question appeared, how to prevent this smoke? So the one clear answer is a complete ban on coal, and to develop such technologies or alternate energy sources that can replace the coal. So after coal, the major fossil fuel that was used then was gasoline. However, gasoline has its own problems, and the smoke caused by the fuel of gasoline is called as photochemical smog or modern smog. The photochemical smog or the modern smog is usually a yellowish brown in color, and this smog is produced by the major fuel, which is gasoline. So we will talk about this photochemical smog in the next lecture. Up till then, okay, Allah Hafiz. If you have any question, let me know in the comments section. I will respond to you as soon as possible.